This is the Amstrad NC100 notebook computer. Because this is such a great computer, I'm going to split this into two videos. In the second half, I'm going to do all the programming, put the Z80 built-in assembler, the BBC Basic, the RS-232 communications, and the built-in diagnostics. And in this video, I'm going to take a look around the outside of the computer and then talk about the applications and take a look at the applications which are built into the actual computer itself. So this computer's got a really nice keyboard in it. I could type on it all day. It's not as nice as the one on the Tandy TRS AT100 model because that one's a proper mechanical keyboard and it's really nice to use as well. This computer's got 128K of EEPROM, which has got built-in applications, as well as BBC Basic and the built-in assembler. And it's got 64K of RAM. So it's got an on-off button up here, speaker here. It's got a PCMCIe slot for external extra memory, and that can take up to 1 megabyte of memory. But you can't really get those PCMCIe cards anymore, so it's not really of much use. It's got a parallel port here for doing printers, and the serial port for the RS-232 communications, which I'll look at in the second video. And then it's got a DC input jack there, which works off of 6-volt DC, and it says it's a positive on the outside, negative on the inner pin. And then there's a contrast control for the LCD display there. And the LCD display is 80 characters by 8 characters. So the Tandy 100 was 40 characters by 8 characters. So this is twice as wide. So if I turn the computer on, so currently it's operating off of 4 AA batteries. And the 4 AA batteries are supposed to last for up to 20 hours. So it gives the same kind of battery lifespan as the Tandy TRS AT100. And the first thing you see is the built-in applications. And so basically, to navigate around the applications first, if you hold down the function key, which is yellow, and press the red key word, it takes you into the word processor options. If you hold down the yellow key and press the green key, it takes you into the calculator. And again, yellow key and the blue key takes you into the diary. And if you ever want to get back to the main menu, you just type the function key and X, and that takes you back to the main options. And there's other ones as well, like function key D takes you into the diary, N takes you to a new document, B takes you into basic. Oh yeah, and L takes you into a list of the files which are on your system, and then you can navigate around the files on your system and take a look at them. So if I first go into the Word application, it gives you 3 options. Now, without pressing the yellow function key, you can use these options. So if I press the green key, it lists the documents on the system, and you can navigate to, say, a document which is on the system. So I've got a document just down here, and if I hit enter, that'll open up that document, and then you can navigate around that. And as you can see, you can do underline characters and bold characters and italic characters. And there's a menu button here which does context menus. So now that we're in the Word application, it'll give me the options that you have in the actual Word application, and then you press stop to come out of the menu, or you can press any of the actual hotkeys, the actual keys on the left hand side of the options to actually select the options. Or there's a list of options you've got here. So the yellow options are if you hold down the function key. So if I do yellow on 1, that actually does a spell check. So it goes into the spell checker. What it should do. Oh yeah, it's done that. Sorry, it's over here. So it doesn't recognize. I'm a terrible speller anyway. It doesn't recognize this word. So if I press L, it looks up a word, or looks up the type of options that you might want. And then if you enter, it will select that option. It goes on to the next word. So actually, for quite an early laptop computer, it's got a spell checker in it, which is really neat. And if I press stop, it should come out of anything you're currently doing. So these are the options when you press the yellow key. And then you could also do these options if you press the control key, I think it is, yeah, control key. So I can delete this line if I press control and 3. And so you've got all of the options here, so you can do bold as well. So if I go control 7, it turns on bold, and you notice it makes everything bold afterwards. So if I take it across and then press Control 7 again, it'll turn off bold, so it just bolds the things that you've highlighted between there. So that was a Word document, and the next one is a calculator. So if we go into calculator, and it just gives you this numeric keypad here, so you can do operations like 5 times 5 and equals. It's just a basic calculator. It's got a clear memory minus memory plus, whatever's in green you can do. There's not much to that. It might be, it probably got, no, it doesn't have its own context sensitive menu if you press menu. So it's a very basic calculator. And then there's the diary options. And there's a fair bit to this. So there's an address book, a calendar, diary, and time manager. So you can set alarms in the time manager. So if I go into the address book, the red key, and then you can just enter names and addresses in here. And then if I go back out to diary and press the green button, it goes into the calendar, and you can see the calendar, and you can navigate around the calendar as well. And you can enter diary entries. So you see where I've got the asterisks next to that's where I've put some diary entries. And I think probably by pressing, yeah, you see the diary entry I've put for that one. And if I go to one like the 28th where I don't have a diary entry, hit enter, then just type text, some text, whatever you want to type, come out, and then it's got an asterisk next to it showing it's got a diary entry there. And you can go forward and backward years. And you can see that there's not an issue with Y2K on this application, because it shows the year 2021. But actually, if I go back into the Word document, so if I just enter a random document, and then if I press symbol and D, it shows that there's a Y2K issue with the Word document stuff, because it's showing the date of 2759 rather than 2021. And if I go back to diary, then it's just time manager left, and you can set an alarm. So you just enter the date and whatever you want the alarm to be, and it will make an audible alarm at the time that happens. I think I've already been calendar, diary, or time manager. Set alarm call again. Edit existing alarm calls. So there's no alarm set currently, or you can set the time zone that you're in. So I'm in London, but you can change the time zone. So I guess if you're doing a lot of flying, actually moving between time zones is quite easy as well. If I go back to the main menu, hit enter, menu I mean, and then there's the default configuration options that you can set. So it's you can even set the year to YYMMDD, which is my preferred format, which you don't always get in applications. You can set the serial communications type, and the clock, which I like 24-hour clock, and then you can set the clock as well if you want. So that's a brief overview of the built-in applications. I'm not going to go in any more depth than that. There's quite a bit to them. I mean, like I say, in the Word document, you can format lots of stuff. You can enter as many alarms as you want. So for the built-in applications, it's much more sophisticated than the Tandy TRS 100. But then again, that was the TRS 100 was like an 80s computer, and this is a 90s computer. So in my next video, I'll cover the programming. I'll do the internal diagnostics, which you can run to test the hardware. I'll cover the built-in Z80 assembler and BBC Basic, and also do some RS-232 communications.